What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. And as you can see, I'm using my crappy camera today because I was charging the other one thinking that this wasn't going to happen so quickly, but it did. Nonetheless, if you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe and check out my other videos to see how much better the quality is in those ones. Do forgive me, the quality will be better in the coming videos. This is just a quick one talking about Ilya Samsonov, if I could even speak properly. The decision by the arbitrator is done. He gave Samsonov a $3.55 million deal for 1 year. As we know, the Leafs came in at 2.4. Samsonov came in at 4.9, which means that they had a decision to make, find the sweet spot of where this deal would be. And it was, decided upon that it was going to be $3.55 million. And that's all great. And everything is fantastic. But not really, because there's a lot of things to talk about. But I want to roll back a little bit here because it's Mitch Marney on Twitter mentioned, great Twitter handle, by the way, from Katie here, saying, as a reminder, Samsonov's arbitration hearing is set for July 21st. It can take up to 48 hours for a ruling. So this was obviously a couple days ago. Sammy's contract term from this can only be 1 year because of his age. The Leafs can walk away if it's more than $4.538 million, in which case Sammy would become an unrestricted free agent. Now, the Leafs could walk away from the deal, but at $3.55 million, they're not going to do that. But Samsonov and the Leafs now are in a weird spot where they weren't on the same page on a contract, and it makes sense for a team to come in low and the player to come in high. Of course, if you're not agreeing on the exact numbers, if maybe Samsonov's sweet spot was $4 million, and the Leafs' sweet spot was around $3 million, of course they're going to both shoot low and high because then they can get closer to their number in the middle. So the fact that they couldn't work out a deal between the two sides is a little bit puzzling, and they played a little bit of hardball with each other. And the other thing is that having him now walking into free agency next year, unrestricted free agency, means that if Samsonov actually has a great season, which is what we hope for, the Leafs are going to have to do a lot to try to hold on to him, and it's going to cost them a lot more money, probably more than $3.55 million. And the cap's going up, which means his number's going to go up. There's a lot of different ways to look at this, but what happens now is the Leafs also just unlocked a buyout window. So now they have, I believe, 48 hours to utilize this. I could be wrong, but the Leafs do have a new buyout window now. They can buy somebody out. And now we're waiting on news of potentially a Matt Murray buyout because Elliotte Friedman mentioned recently that a trade wouldn't happen. He doesn't believe that teams are willing to take on Matt Murray's cap hit. And again, it's due to, one, Matt Murray is not very good, and two, that the cap didn't go up. So when you want to take on a guy like Matt Murray, he's coming with a lot of baggage because you're paying him a lot of actual salary and you're paying him a lot on your cap hit. And with the cap not really going up, it only went up by like $1 million. There's no gain there unless the Leafs throw in a huge sweetener, which a lot of people were saying was Nick Robertson. But I don't think the Leafs on the flip side can afford to lose cheap players, as now they're going to have to do some serious cap gymnastics because a trade has to be coming. I mean, the way I look at it, regardless of a Murray buyout, which we're going to look at in a second here with Cap Friendly, the Maple Leafs don't have a lot of choices here. Like, they have to do something, and it's going to become really difficult. So what I did, by the way, I'll just show you again just for that double confirmation. James Myrtle showing Samsonov awarded $3.55 million in arbitration. Now, let's move over here to Cap Friendly. This is where the fun begins, and, people are always on me for making trade rumor videos, but I just like to look at things and be a little bit realistic because I think a lot of people are not realizing that the Leafs are kind of in a bit of trouble here. There's a bit of a pickle. Now, they can get out of this without trading William Nylander, which everybody's first thing is, trade Nylander, boom, done, we're good. First of all, why would the Leafs want to trade him over players that they maybe aren't going to utilize, right? Like, there's other guys that they can trade that would make more sense for them to move on from than a William Nylander. Now, let's just take a look at it, right? So I'm not saying these are going to be the lines. This is just what Cap Friendly shows you right away. But you see Nick Robertson on the main team. You see Dylan Gambrell. You see Pontus Holmberg. But you're also seeing a negative $6.7 million. And you've got Samsonov's new deal right in here. You've got Matt Murray. So let's go ahead and buy out Matt Murray, right? So now the player is bought out. So now the Leafs still need to somehow get rid of $2.756 million. Now, there is a lot of options here. Now, one, you could, first of all, you're going to do that. You're going to probably bury Dylan Gambrell, right? Which I believe, I'm not sure how his contract would work, but I'm almost positive that the Leafs can bury up to $1.2 million in cap space in the minors. So let's say you do that, right? So $1.9 million in cap space. Now, what a lot of people are pointing to is trading Calle Jarnkrok. Now, Jarnkrok was pretty damn good last year, and from what we've been hearing and from what was said last year, I think Austin Matthews likes playing with Jarnkrok. So if the Bertuzzi thing doesn't work and Bertuzzi ends up on the second line, okay, why did that just happen? But anyways, if that happens, and you end up having Bertuzzi on the second line, you can have Jarnkrok up there, you can have Nyes up there, or you have Nyes on the third line. There's a bunch of different options here, but I wouldn't be so quick to getting rid of Jarnkrok, even though, again, you could potentially get rid of him, and that would save you your cash. But it's going to become really difficult because I don't think the Leafs want to send down Holmberg. I'm almost sure they don't want to trade Lafferty because he's good depth, but it almost looks as though you're going to have to move on from Lafferty and Timmins, because if you do make those trades, which again, both these guys are positive assets, like you're not attaching anything to these guys to get rid of them, there's your cap space. You found your cap space, but again, you're losing that depth. Now you've got, guys that don't play the wing as your depth. There's Bobby McMahon, who's in the minors, that a lot of people believe will come up and play a significant role at some point. So again, this cap is going to change because maybe they send down Robertson or they trade him. But what I'm just trying to show you from a base level, and we'll just throw Bobby McMahon back on there again, is that the Leafs are going to have to sacrifice good depth in guys like Timmins and Lafferty because of, a Klingberg for 4.1. Giordano maybe isn't going to be as good, and he's taking up a slot. Liljegren, you have to expect him to be better this year. Maybe Brody regresses. These are a lot of question marks. Was it too much to give Ryan Reeves $1.3 million? Again, you can come up with a million different question marks. You can come up with a million different things in all of these scenarios, but all it comes down to is that the Leafs have to make another move. There's something that has to give here. And again, I know the comments are going to be just blowing up with the trade Nylander thing. And again, sure, if they can somehow trade Nylander and, they can replace a little bit of his scoring and get better on the blue line, you tidy up a few things, you save a little bit of money, that's great. But you have to make sure that you're actually making the sacrifice worth it. You can't just remove 40 goals from a team and expect them to be fine. I know the Leafs have had a pretty good offseason, but now is where it's going to get a little bit silly. And at the time I'm making this video, and maybe even when you're watching this, there's already been decisions made. But at the time I'm making this, the Leafs have work to do. There's a lot to talk about. So sound off in the comments if you are new here. Like and subscribe. Again, sorry for the quality. If you check out my other videos, which I would recommend, the quality is much better. It's just, of course, the camera died, and I keep thinking that it's charged, but it's not. I'm just a dumbass. But thank you to all the new subs as well. I know a lot of people realize that, hey, you're watching my content regularly and you're not subscribed. If you could do that, seriously, I am trying to make this my full-time gig, so liking and subscribing helps more than you ever know, and it's completely free. So thank you guys so much, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Leave your comments down below. Tell me what's next for the Maple Leafs. Peace.